Okay, hello everybody. This is John Hansen with the Florida Physique Report, episode number 11. Today is Friday, October 3rd, 2014. And if you're following along every week, you did not miss anything. We did not have a show last week. The FloridaPhysique.com is going through some changes. We updated our website. We have a whole new website design, and we were busy with that last week. It never went down, but we are a little bit behind. But the new site is up. It's ready to go, so I hope you enjoy the new site. On this week's show, we do not have a guest, but we have 3 contests that we have to go over because we're a little bit behind from last week. We have the NPC Gainesville Classic, which took place on September 20th in Gainesville, Florida. I never did a report on that yet, so we're going to talk about that. The following week, they had 2 competitions. They had the Ruby Championships, which were held in Boca Raton, Florida on September 27th. Very big competition, 149 competitors. And at the same time, they had the Daytona Beach Classic, which was going on right up the state in Daytona Beach. They had 140 competitors there. So you want to talk about how big of a state Florida is for bodybuilding. 2 competitions with over 140 competitors in each contest on the same weekend. So we have to talk about that. We also want to talk about what's going on in the month of October, because October, another big month for bodybuilding in the Florida area. We've got 4 big shows coming up. So I want to talk about that real quick. So let's do that first. October 4th, which is tomorrow, we have the Hurricane Bay and the Typhoon Bay, promoted by promoter Tim Gardner, who also does the Tampa Bay Pro Show. This is what he calls his baby. He's been promoting this show for, I believe, 14 years. I don't know if I could get it right or not, but this is Tim's big show. It's going to be at Jefferson High School in Tampa Bay, Florida. And if you're in the area, I hope you can come by. The Typhoon Bay, by the way, is a drug-tested competition, one of the few. I do a show out here in Tampa called the Natural Sun Coast, which I just started this year. That is a drug-tested event. The Typhoon Bay is also a drug-tested event for 1 year drug-free. I know Frank Sapienza, who we talked to before on the show, and we're going to talk about him in a minute. He is going in the contest, and quite a few people from the Powerhouse Gym in downtown Tampa. Speaking of that, check out our new light. We have our new on-air light that is in our studio here for the Florida Physique Report in the Powerhouse Gym in downtown Tampa. We're very nice they're a big sponsor of ours, and they've given us a room to do our Florida Physique Report every week. And we have our on-air light. So when the light is on, don't come walking in. Next contest on the agenda is October 11th. Eastern USA, promoted by Chris Eady, which is going to be in Orlando, Florida. This is a national qualifier. It's going to be a really big show. A lot of competitors I've been talking to over the last month have all told me they're doing the Southeastern. So he's going to have a really, really big contest. It's a national qualifier. A lot of people trying to qualify for the Nationals, which is next month in November. And he's going to have 4-time Mr. Olympia. Now, the newly crowned 4-time Mr. Olympia, Phil Heath, is going to be the guest poser. So not too much. It's not too often you get a chance to see a bodybuilder like Phil Heath. So I'm sure it's going to be a huge turnout at the Southeastern USA next weekend. That's going to be at the CFE Arena at UCF in Orlando, Florida. The following weekend on October 18th, Shannon Day is holding a big competition, the NPC Fort Lauderdale Amateur and Professional Cup. So the Amateur Cup is a national qualifier, another one. This is going to be a really big event. Shannon is also doing a pro show where she's going to have men's physique and bikini. So that's going to be the IFBB Pro Fort Lauderdale Cup. That's going to be September 18th at the War Memorial Auditorium in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, the same place where the Southern States is held every year. And then finally on October 25th, we're going to have another IFBB NPC show, the Diana Cadu Classic, which is another national qualifier. And with the IFBB version, she's having the men's physique. And the NPC, as I said, will be a national qualifier. That's going to be in Coral Springs, Florida, at the Coral Springs Center for the Arts. Okay, so that's what we got coming up in October. Very big lineup, a lot of big shows, 3 national qualifiers, and the Hurricane Bay starting tomorrow. Okay, let's go over the results. Like I said, on September 20th, which was the same weekend as the Mr. Olympia contest, they had the NPC Gainesville contest in Gainesville, Florida. Promoter Tony Curtis promoted this event. He took over the event from another promoter who was promoting it before. Interesting thing about this contest is all the proceeds go to children's cancer research, or it might just be cancer research out in the Gainesville area. So it's a very great event. There's a lot of support. A lot of people who have had cancer and have overcome cancer were competing in the show. A lot of people in the audience were supporters of the competitors. It was really, really a great event. So let's go over the results of that real quick. He had about 70 competitors, so it was a big event. And we'll start with the Masters Men Bodybuilding. In the over 50 class, Frank Sapienza was the winner. In the over 40, Jason Gammons was the winner. And then in the over 35 division, Matt Ammon was the winner. And then in the overall, Frank Sapienza won the overall. Frank brought his excellent conditioning to the stage again, and he won now his 3rd Masters overall title this year. He also won the Ancient City Classic, and he won the Lakeland Classic. In the teen men bodybuilding, Jeremy Clavier won first place. Jeremy had a really good physique. It was very hard. He was very poised on stage, aggressive. But I have to mention the guy who took second, Michael Ford. Young kid, great potential on this kid. Sometimes, every once in a while, you see somebody who's just got great genetics, and this kid's got really great shape, natural genetic shape. So I hope Michael keeps going forward and makes some improvements. It looked like it was one of his first competitions because he was pretty off on his posing. He needs a lot of work on that, but the potential is there. So I hope he does it, and I hope he keeps going forward because he could really go far. Next up was the Masters figure. In the over 40, Dana Devine won first place, and in the over 30, Taryn Garlington, who had a really great physique, very hard, very muscular. She was really in condition. Taryn Garlington won the overall there. In the teen figure, Ashlyn Riley was the winner. On to the Masters men's physique, Tim Price was the winner there. In the Masters bikini, Casey Newick was the winner. Going to the women's physique, Michelle Smith was the winner. We did an interview with Michelle for FloridaPhysique.com. Check that out. She has been competing a very long time. She used to do women's bodybuilding back in the 90s. Then she switched over to figure. Actually won the Gainesville show competing in figure, and now she's doing women's physique. So hopefully we'll see Michelle in the future. In the figure open division, in the short class, Taryn Garlington won again. That was our Masters winner. And in the medium class, Jessica Sands won. The overall went again to Taryn Garlington. She's got a really, really good physique. I hope Taryn competes again. I think she's taking the rest of the year off. The men's physique open, in the short class, David Centano was the winner. There was only 2 competitors there, but he looked really good. And then Justin Carlton won the tall class, and then David Centano won the overall. And then going over to the bikini, in the short class, Megan Brown was the winner, and then first place in the tall class went to Abby Powell, also competing in her very first contest. And then Abby won the overall there, so she had a really good night. Finally, the night finished off with the men's bodybuilding. The bantamweight went to Michael Ford, who was second place in the teenage. The kid I said has great potential. He took first place in the bantamweight. The lightweight was won by Ji Feng Zhu. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. He's an Asian bodybuilder, really ripped, great posing routine. I have to mention on this show the people that do great posing routines, because it's not too often you see someone who's really worked on their routine and brings a real classical posing routine to the stage. And Zhen Feng Zhu really did an awesome routine. He's also an opera singer. Tony Curtis had him come out and he sang Ave Maria for the audience, and he blew everybody away because he was incredible. Total big surprise. So hopefully we'll see him compete in the future. He looked really, really good. The middleweight class went to Matt Ammon. I've seen Matt compete before a couple times this year. He's really making improvements. You can tell this guy is really sticking to his diet. He's getting harder. He's got a real thick physique. He's really making improvements, and he won the medium class here, the middleweight class, I should say. The light heavyweight class went to Frank Sapienza, but it was a really close decision with him and Chris Coupler. They were sharing first place votes from the judges, and Frank just beat him by 1 point, so that was pretty close. The heavyweight went to Levi Fairbanks. Looks like a young competitor, still needs some maturing to do, but he's got some good size. And then the super heavyweights went to Kirk Luckman. And the overall, again, Frank Sapienza won. So again, this is his 3rd Open and Masters overall title. He won the Ancient City, he won the Lakeland Classic, now he won the Gainesville. Frank has been competing for 10 years, never won an overall title, so now he's won 3 in 1 summer. He's doing fantastic, and he will be competing tomorrow at the Hurricane Bay. All right, now let's go over to the Ruby Championships, which was held in Southern Florida in Boca Raton on September 27th. I drove out there last Friday and I attended the prejudging. I saw most of the prejudging. Then I left there, went upstate to Daytona and caught the Daytona Beach Classic. But at the Ruby, huge contest, 149 competitors, especially in the bikini division, a lot of competitors, and also the men's physique was very, very competitive. So let's go over the winners there. We'll start with the figure division. In the figure class A, Fernanda Pardo was the winner. Figure class B, Maria Ocha. Figure class C, Marisol Ojeda. And figure class D, Loretta Young. And in the overall, Maria Ochoa was the winner. And then they had a figure masters division. In the over 50, Justine Fortuna was the winner. In the over 40, Laura Newton. And in the over 30, Maria Ochoa, who also won the figure overall. She also won the masters figure overall. All right, let's go to the novice figure. Fernanda Pardo was the winner. Fernanda also won Class A in the figure open. Now the bikini division, as I said, huge, huge competition. A lot of competitors. We'll start with the bikini open division. Kara Mason took first place in Class A. There was 11 competitors in that class. That was a very close decision. Kara won by 1 point. In Class B, Andrea Guerrero was the winner. There was 20 competitors in Class B. Class C went to Stacy Berries, who beat out 24 competitors. And then Class D went to Marta Caseta. So in the overall, Andrea Guerrero was the winner. Now in the Masters bikini, in the over 40, Lucrita O'Neill was the winner. She got straight ones from the judges. Congratulations to Lucrita. And then in the over 30, Stacy Berries won. And then Stacy Berries won the overall Masters. Stacy also won Class C in the open division. Very good competitor. In the novice bikini, I should say, Andrea Guerrero won. Now in the novice bikini, they had 38 competitors. It was incredible. There were so many competitors in that contest. Andrea Guerrero also went on to win Class B in the open bikini. All right, let's move on to women's physique. Libby Lansing was the winner in Class A. Joanne Andrews won Class B. And Libby Lansing was the overall winner in the open women's physique. In the over 30 women's physique, Joy Groznicik was the winner. Moving on to the men's bodybuilding, the Masters men's bodybuilding, John Brannigan won the over 60 division. Patrick Cotter won the over 50. Diego De Leon won the over 40. And Yavirki Adams won the over 35 division in the Masters men's bodybuilding. And Yavirki Adams was the overall winner. All right, moving on to the teen bodybuilding, Pablo De Mila was the winner there. And the novice bodybuilding, Samuel Romero. Going on to the men's physique, another really big division. Kevin Moreno was the winner in Class A in the open men's physique. Kevin Bowe was the winner in Class B. Raul Porras was the winner in Class C. And Darren Norris was the winner in Class D. And the overall, Kevin Moreno won the overall. In the teen men's physique, Joseph Hoffman was the winner. Only 2 competitors there. In the novice men's physique, O'Neil Rodriguez won the class, over 20 competitors, and it was actually very, very close between him and the second place winner because there was a tiebreaker. Darren Norris was the second place guy. O'Neil Rodriguez and Darren Norris tied, and then O'Neil won the first place division in the novice men's physique. All right, and then we finish off with the men's open bodybuilding. The lightweight went to Miguel Porcel. The middleweight went to the Masters overall winner, which was Yavirki Adams. The light heavyweight was Diego De Leon, and the heavyweight was Carlos Gabin. And then in the overall, Yavirki Adams won the overall. So Yavirki won overall in both the Masters and the Open. All right, now let's move on to the Daytona Beach Classic, which was promoted last weekend, September 27th in Daytona Beach. Tony Curtis again was the promoter, along with Michael Matassa. They co-promoted the event. They've been doing it, I believe, 4 years, had a really big turnout, 140 competitors. It exceeded even what they thought they were going to bring in, so that was fantastic. Let's go over the results here. Masters Men's Physique, Guy Lamio was the winner there. He won the over 50 division by 1 point. In the over 40 division, Mark Tomby was the winner, and then Mark also won the over 35 division, and Mark won the overall in the Masters Men's Physique. And the Novice Men's Physique, Marvin Short was the winner. 21 competitors in that division. Very, very tough. Women's Physique went to Bridget Duncan. In the Masters Figure, in the over 50 division, Darlene Schumann was the winner. In the over 40, Gail Klusner. And the over 30 went to Tina Thompson, who just took second place at the Gainesville. So congratulations to Tina, moving up. And then Tina won the overall. Won the overall Masters Figure. Novice Figure went to Dinah Wahlberg with 11 competitors in the Novice Figure. And then going on to the Figure Open, the short class went to Altera Warren. Really good physique on Altera. Very defined, very hard. Medium class went to Dinah Wahlberg, who was our novice winner. And then the tall class went to Gail Krushner. And then in the overall, Altera Warren was the overall winner. Look for Altera next year. I think she's taking the rest of the year off, but she looks really good. She's coached by Chris Evans. In the novice men's bodybuilding, Joshua Williams was the winner. The teen bodybuilder was Brandon Reck. In the women's bodybuilder, over 40 division went to Susan Lawson, and then Susan was also the winner in the open women's bodybuilding. All right, let's go on to bikini. In a novice bikini, Sarah Stahl was the winner. She beat out 17 other competitors. Masters bikini, over 40 division went to Bonnie Feister. Over 35 division went to Delari Rickert. And then the over 30 division went to Deborah Robinson. And Deborah Robinson was the overall winner. We did an interview with Deborah for FloridaPhysique.com, and it was pretty interesting. She used to compete in figure, and now she switched over to bikini, and she likes bikini a lot better and is doing really well. In the Masters men's bodybuilding, the over 70 and the over 60 class were both won by Cliff Jackson. The over 50 division went to Alberta Buckenridge, and then the over 40 division was in two classes. The lightweight went to Steve Feister, and the heavyweight went to Arno Nishan. Arno, if you've ever competed in the Florida area, is a photographer. He's usually the official photographer at a lot of these competitions, so you probably met him if you've competed before. And Arno looked fantastic. He got up on stage. He won the heavyweight division in the over 40. Then in the overall over 40, he won that. And then they had the overall Masters bodybuilding, and he won that. So congratulations to Arno. Never knew you had it in you, Arno. You look great. He was ripped. He was really ready for the show. All right, moving on to the men's physique. They had a total of 30 competitors. Timothy Wisdom won the short class. Kyle Miller won the medium class. And then Joseph Gass, competing in his very first contest, won first place in the tall class. And then Joseph won the overall. Joseph was a very big competitor, got a lot of muscle, and did really well. So he'll be competing again for sure. In the Bikini Open, they had a total of 28 competitors. Maylee Viero won the short class, beating out 14 other competitors. The medium class went to Jabeen Stark, and then the tall class went to Sarah Stahl. The overall went to Maylee Viero, who looked really good on stage, a lot of confidence, really brought it. So she looks good. All right, and then finally we finish off with the men's bodybuilding division. The bantamweight was Louis Ascati. The lightweight went to Marco Sanseverino. Middleweight went to Matt Ammon, who competed successfully last weekend, and he did really well in the Daytona Beach also. I think Matt just keeps getting harder and harder. He looked even better at the Daytona than he did at the Gainesville. And then the light heavy went to Jonathan Van Essen, who was really ripped. And the heavyweight went to Brian Garrison, and then Brian Garrison won the overall, which I was really happy to see. We did an interview with Brian after the contest. I've seen Brian compete before. I told him his physique sort of reminds me of a young Ronnie Coleman, like back in 90, 91 when Ronnie first got his pro card. He's got a really good muscle mass, great shape, small waist, and I've seen him compete at the Dexter-Jackson Classic, which I think he got second, and then he was at the Southern States where he won the over 35 but lost the overall. So it was good to see Brian win in overall because I think he's got the physique that deserves it. He was also telling me a story about he actually got shot back in 1999. The bullet went through his stomach. He believed that he died, and then he was brought back to life, and he's given his life to the Lord, and he has dedicated himself to bodybuilding, and he's doing fantastic. So congratulations to Brian. He told our story on our video interview for FloridaPhysique.com, so I hope you check that out. And that was it. A busy 2 weeks in bodybuilding, and like I said, tomorrow we got the Hurricane Bay right here in Tampa, Florida at Jefferson High School, so I hope you guys can make it. We will be back next week with episode number 12 of Florida Physique Report. Hope you can make it out to the Hurricane Bay, and we'll have the report on that on either Sunday or Monday on FloridaPhysique.com. Enjoy the new website. We got some new training videos coming. We got all the contest reports on there. We've got all the Florida Physique reports on there, and we've got all our contest interviews on there. So I hope you guys like it. All right, that's it for Florida Physique Report, episode number 11. This is John Hansen. We'll see you next week.